My name is Singiza Ibrahim. I'm a Ugandan researcher. I was able to modify the ancient barter trade into modernized barter trade. What we are going to look at today, we are going to look at the modernized barter trade and bottom-up projection under the coordination principle. And the introduction to this topic. Modernized barter trade solves all the problems of ancient barter trade by attaching an invisible value to goods and services to be used in the exchange. The modernized barter trade and bottom-up projection run under the coordination principle to make everything happen in the transaction process. This new system is aimed at helping the monetary system, the exchange of goods and services. World economies are changing at a very high speed, and the need to exploit various economic resources has risen. This system will help microeconomics by improving cash flows, increasing sales and profits at both international and corporate level. It will increase the sales in the way that companies will stop producing at excess capacity and encourages them to sell off their inventory as quick as possible. Therefore, the government will increase its revenue through taxing the large profit base realized by various companies. On the other hand, it will help macroeconomics by reducing inflation and put little risk on the economy in times of a financial crisis by helping the reserve money program to perform. Through modernized barter trade and bottom-up projection under the coordination principle, a new era of economic thinking will be created. The speed, flexibility, and convenience in the transaction process will help economies to increase GDP at a very high rate, which will lead to both economic growth and development. However, the innovative design calls for very close supervision and management to produce desired results. This framework requires good technology to keep transaction records with accuracy. The new system will give a way to improvement of business and help various economies to stimulate the flow of transactions in the economy. It will create stability in the dynamic trade environment through decreasing the occurrence of frozen assets. The modernized barter trade design performs duties of money in the transaction process since it holds the fact that the monetary value of goods or services equal to the invisible value of goods or services. The bottom-up projection is more of a supporting engine to modernize barter trade in ensuring efficiency in solving all the problems of ancient barter trade. The projecting of economic activities to meet the money demand and supply through the coordination principle will create an easy way of implementing new system to work together with the monetary system. The cores of the new system are not predominantly driven by the supply and demand of paper money, but call for the use of non-cash transaction to improve trade. The new system can act as the storage of wealth and means of deferred payment to facilitate future payments. It's time we create an economic revolution with a new mode of carrying out transactions to help the monetary system perform perfectly. The new system is designed to minimize the problems of the monetary system and make countries proceed with excelling economies. The new system can be introduced to various economies around the world depending on their structures. The interdependency between transactions will drive economies forward with the new system and create room for favorable trade. It can be closely supervised better than the monetary system, making it easier for economic planning. The strategy outlines a critical realistic approach in the transformation of barter trade system. It aims to reform the weaknesses of the ancient barter trade system against the monetary system. The combination of modernized barter system and monetary system will give the rise to the new economic order. This will be achieved through the use of modernized barter trade and monetary trade. Not many years ago, almost every country suffered a financial crisis. While some are progressing with the recession plan, others are still dwelling in it. Adoption of the strategy reduces the effects of the financial crisis since the economy is closely watched with the plan's flexible approach. The plan continues to reduce on the public debts to the strengthening of the monetary policy. During the process of strengthening the monetary policy system, the fundamental difficulties associated with operating the reserve money program will be improved. The procedures taken will give magnitude to aggregate demand and supply of goods and services. Therefore, avoid the occurrence of frozen assets. Currently, countries are undergoing a fundamental transformation, and the rate at which this happens will increase further in the future. Countries that will be successful in improving the financial sector with the use of very good economic policies through better financial and fiscal policies will be able to produce sound economies. Every government across the world gets most of its money from its local taxes and exports. So improving on the tax system will give birth to the easy support of government programs. Many of the developing countries will be able to sort out their foreign exchange issues in order to trade between themselves. So, before we proceed with modern barter trade and its technicalities, let me introduce you to a chart I developed some time back, which is called the Economic Boost Plan chart. This, you can call it an economy chart. This chart shows every economy. This is any economy around the world, a setup of an economy. And these are the players inside. First, sitting in the middle of the economy, we have the central bank. And next to the central bank, we have the big financial institutions, as you can see. And after the big financial institutions, we have the big organizations. And after the big organizations, we have the small financial institutions. And after the small financial institutions, we have the small organizations. And these dots inside the whole economy represent what we call other economic activities. Because there are some activities you cannot access. You cannot understand, like somebody selling maize on the road, somebody selling newspapers, somebody working in the taxi, somebody on the border. So those are other economic activities, and they are found everywhere in the economy. So this is the key. So these are the key players of the economy. The circle represents the central bank, and this oval here represents the big financial institutions. The rectangle represents big organization, and small financial institutions represents by a rhombus, and the square represents the small organizations. Dots represents the other economic activities. This is a research of itself because this shows the full economy. So, when we are projecting money, the central bank, what we will call the up-down projection. Money comes from here, then it goes through the whole economy. So, whereby, for example, if money is corrupted from here, it won't reach the full economy. So, this is called I call it the up-down projection, because with the monetary system, the money is projected from here and then it goes through the whole economy. The central bank uses a monetary policy through the expansionary and the restrictive, so that it can control the economy. So without wasting too much on this, because when I start talking about this has a full topic around it, rotating around it. But with barter trade, we can use what we call the bottom-up projection. Because from the bottom-up projection, all we need are the economic activities. Are they available? If they are available, we can start and create the monetary, or what we call the barter currencies, and they come through the economy. So here, the central bank can access and know what money is needed to be used in the economy. So, without going too further deep inside this, I will elaborate it In another video, let me introduce you to what we call the modernized barter trade under the coordination principle. Let me introduce you to what we call modernized barter trade. And bottom-up projection under the coordination principle. So what is modernized barter trade? Modernized barter trade is the use of invisible currencies in the exchange of goods and services. The attachment of invisible value, which is the same as the monetary value on the goods and services, gives them flexibility in the transaction process. So the expression MVPS this is a very, very important expression in modernized barter trade. This is what can help us create billions and billions and billions of value in the economy. So what is MVPS equals to IVPS? This one is the monetary value, this monetary value of a product or service equals to its invisible value, equals to the invisible value of a product or service. So literally, what do I mean? Let us assume that this marker is 1,000 shillings. Okay? That is its monetary value, is 1,000 shillings. Then, its invisible value, it's also 1,000. Why? If it is here, it's already, even if you have not bought it, it has its invisible value, which is 1,000. Then when you bring a note of the Ugandan currency carrying the monetary value of 1 shilling, we will be able to exchange this marker with the monetary value. So what if we create, for example, this mark is 1,000. So what if we create barter currencies of 1,000? It means I can exchange the same marker with the barter currencies of 1,000. Because we transformed barter from the exchange of direct goods and services, and we gave it a value. We attached it to the monetary. This expression attaches it to the monetary value, so that goods are able to be exchanged. So what we're going to look at here is that the monetary value of a product or service equals to its invisible value. As I've given you an example, let us look at the transaction process or model. The transaction process compares both the monetary value and the invisible value. It clearly shows the exchange of goods and services using the values. So the transaction model under the monetary system. So, monetary value Remember, we are looking at the transaction model under the monetary system, monetary value. Then you draw arrows. So here we are exchanging. This is the exchanging. There is somebody receiving money and there is somebody receiving products or services. So let us look at the transaction model under modernized barter trade. Here we are exchanging the invisible value. Somebody is receiving barter currencies, another one is receiving products and services. So this is the exchange process. And here somebody is receiving products and services. Or products or services. So what do we learn throughout these transaction models? What do we learn? We learn that from our expression MVPS equals to IVPS, which I talked about earlier, that the monetary value of a product or service equals to the invisible value of a product or services. This expression is so important in the economics of the modernized barter trade, because I can create any currency around the world even without creating it. Just I have to design the ecosystem where it will run. I can create a dollar, for example, the monetary we assume here is my $1. Then I will have my $1. I will have an invisible value of 1 of my dollar. Or let me assume I have 1 Kenyan shilling. So here is, I have an invisible value of 1 Kenyan shilling. It means I've created a Kenyan shilling without printing any note or any coin. These barter currencies can be carried through various information systems, because the good thing today we have technology. So what is important in the economics of the country is that what is very important in the economics of the country is the services and the products or the economic activities. It's not money. Money is able to work within us because it is recognized. If you don't recognize, that's why I cannot go to Switzerland and I use a shilling, because a shilling is recognized here in Uganda, and a person in Switzerland will say I need $1 or other recognized currencies in those countries. But we can be able to exchange various products without the invisible values. For example, we can be able to exchange various products using the invisible value of product or service. Let me give you an example. I want to trade with maybe Nigeria, and Nigeria will need $1. So with the African community, we can create what we call invisible currencies. We can create a dollar to help us exchange those goods. And I won't go deep inside it because these are secrets I want to share with my country in the future, how it is done, how it is supposed to work out, the implementation plan, because various countries carry too much secrets, and I cannot just dish out the whole thing here on camera. So let us look at something very important here. Let us look at money, like 1,000 shillings. How important in economics? How important is this 1,000? I can go and buy a bottle of mineral water, 1,000. It means this 1,000 has created a value of 1,000. The same shilling is used by that somebody have bought on the bottle of soda to buy, maybe has bought G-nuts from a vendor. He gives that vendor 1,000 G-nuts. Then the G-nuts guy is coming again. He's saying, you know what? Sell to me. You send me some airtime. So we can look at the same 1,000 is creating value. And it has created the value of around 4,000. So our economies are supposed to be worked closely so that we can produce sound economies by using this expression. This expression, when applied very correctly, I can tell you in just 25 years, Uganda can just become a first-class country. Because I don't want to share much about this, because I've designed it for my country, maybe Africa in general, but most importantly my country, Uganda. Yeah, and I'm willing to share the knowledge with the appropriate people, because this video is going to move various places, and I don't need to talk about much about this expression, because what if I try to talk about this expression, everybody will be wanting to use it, wanting to have it in his country, because it can create very, 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 very good results. And from there, I don't want to say much, because at least if I tell you that I know what I'm doing for the videos I've been making throughout, you can be able to know that I know what I'm doing through my proof of the numeric correspondences, through the immune booster, which can help us to treat HIV. Now, the modernized barter trade, which can help us produce sound economies all over the world. I will talk much in further interviews, but for now I've made these videos to let the world know that thinkers are there in the country who can give the right results to the country. Our country is facing unemployment opportunities, but we cannot solve that problem without tightening the economy. That's why you see we labor now, people are moving to go to overseas to look for green pastures. If those economies were not settled and they were not worked upon by the policymakers there, you wouldn't go there and you find jobs. But they tell you jobs are there because the economies are stable and the policies they are taking, they are very good for their economy. Thank you.